Hello, my name is Catherine, and my group members and I are part of the CSM 10 class with Professor Dr. Bishop, and we decided to do the topic of violent crime rates. My group members and I have been really interested in this topic, and we wanted to know more of it. And these are my group members.
I am Taylor.
I'm Eduardo.
And I'm Noah.
And I'll be moving on to the next slide. Now, this is an introduction to violent crime rate. Violent crimes are categorized into multiple crimes. As you can see, there are a few of them that are onto this, which are murder, aggravated assault, manslaughter, and rape and robbery. There's a lot when it comes to violent crimes, and they could be, considered as a felony, whether that being a threat or force onto a person or, multiple people, depending what the situation is. And I'll be moving it on to Noah.
All right, thank you, Catherine. So we decided to define or share with you the definitions of the four crimes that are classified as violent crimes. All these definitions were taken or were used and found off of the website from the Bureau of Justice of Statistics. And the first of the four crimes here that were defined was murder or non-negligent manslaughter. And this is the intentional causing of death of another person through extreme force or other means that are not legally justified. And now I'll pass it on to Eduardo, who will define robbery.
All right, so robberies are basically attempted theft towards a person's properties or belongings, and with theft, robberies, you could use a weapon or without it, and that sometimes it can happen with injuries or without. So now I would pass it on to Catherine with her definition.
Thank you, Eduardo. Excuse me. My definition is rape, and it is to be known as a forced sexual intercourse. And it typically is involved with two people, but one person is typically committing the crime. Now, you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Well, when a person doesn't want the intercourse or doesn't give them consent to, have that sexual activity, the other person may make it a physical force and force that other person to do something, which is leading into what is known as rape. Now I would be moving on to Taylor.
Thank you, Catherine. Lastly, aggravated assault is an attack or an attempted attack with a weapon, regardless of whether an injury occurred, and an attack without a weapon when seriously injury results. Therefore, being when someone either attempts to have an attack on another person and or they actually do commit the crime and attack one another, whether that harm them or not, that does result in aggravated assault and is considered a felony. And I will go ahead and lead us into the next slide. So as a group, we came up with a gap in our research. A gap is basically something that we need more information on. So as a group, as a whole, we decided that we needed more information on why these crimes are being committed and not being decreased. We just want to get a little bit more understanding on how can society help get these crimes and felonies under a certain percentage. And we have two outstanding crimes that are extremely over that percentage rate that really it should be. Our research question that we came up with as a unit, which was which of the violent crimes are most commonly committed in modern time. So we just want to know, as of 2020 going into 2021, what is the most popular crime that there is today. And our hypothesis being something that we inferred, something that we don't have 100% answer to, but something that we are pretty confident in, is if the rates of robbery are continuously increasing at a higher rate than other violent crimes, then robbery will be the most common violent crime. So when we were doing our research, we did find that robbery was one of the highest leading felonies in today. So we basically inferred that if it continues at the rate that it is now, then it will be one of the most violent crimes there is. And I will go ahead and pass it on.
All right, so our specifics that we had were to investigate the rates or the natures of the robberies that were committed. We compared that growth with the other violent crimes that were also committed to, and we had an understanding of the factors that cause robberies. I'll pass it on.
All right, thank you, Eduardo. So after conducting research and reviewing research articles, we've collected an amount of data that we believe will allow us to make these conclusions. And the first of those conclusions was provided by the FBI and their statistics, which pointed to aggravated assault as being the most common violent crime, while robbery is in second place. And our other research articles allowed us to understand the natures and causes of, or not the causes, but the aspects of robbery. So, robbery is, or places that are most susceptible to robberies are crowded areas and non English speaking communities. And days of the week do not affect the rates at which robberies occur. And I'll be passing it on to Eduardo, who discuss the statistics provided by the FBI.
All right, so for this, it's showing that aggravated assault is the highest rated stat that's on here, which is at 65%, and showing that robbery could also become high at 25.6%. It also shows rape and murder at the lowest, but showing that murder is the lowest at 1.4 and rape at 8%. Now I'll pass it on to Taylor to explain the next slide.
So this is the rates of robbery in different locations and times. On the graph, it shows 2 different locations and several different times at which the crime can be committed. So for an example, if you go ahead and look at high schools from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., it's showing that on the y-axis, your line starts and it doesn't end till about 1.0. Therefore, being from that time period, X amount of robbery crimes are committed in that time period.
All right, and this is all the research articles and websites that we collected data from, and that is the conclusion to our presentation. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two about robberies and violent crimes. Thank you for giving us your time today, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.